Welcome to Beyond the Board, where we break bread with some of the most interesting industry leaders. I'm Jason Buechel, CEO at Whole Foods Market, and I'm honored to host in-depth conversations with some of the most innovative and impactful leaders in the food industry. Today, in front of a live audience of our amazing team members, we welcome Aishwarya Iyer, founder and CEO of Brightland, a line of very unique and very good olive oil. And I have to say, as a fan and a customer, this was just a delight to be able to have you here today. Not only do I love the olive oil, but the champagne vinegar is absolutely outstanding as well. So,
oh my gosh,
big fan of the product.
Such kind words. Thank you for having me, Jason. And I'm so excited to be doing this in front of the team for Team Appreciation Week.
Yes.
I'm so jazzed to be here.
Yeah, we have... we've got two really exciting things to celebrate this week. Obviously, Team Member Appreciation Week and having our team members here live in audience for the recording. But also this week, it is Whole Foods Market's 45th anniversary.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
Feeling great. Our first store opened just down the street, and if you think about the amazing journey that we've had over these 45 years, and the reality is we're going to celebrate so many of those components today. As you probably know, we are a purpose-led organization. Our higher purpose is to nourish people and the planet, and we've got a great set of core values. And from our very first store, our goal has always been to bring the highest quality natural and organic products to the market. And I think this is a great example of that. And at the same time, we want to surprise and delight our customers. And again, we're going to have some exciting things to talk about with your products, which we know surprise and delight as well. But for 45 years, it's been fun to sort of have the company live these values and to be part of it, and have the audience here today sharing this has been absolutely outstanding.
It's so wild because it takes half a century to do amazing things.
Yes.
And I think we forget that sometimes. Like, we always think that everything is quick, but when it comes to food and when it comes to nature and doing really good, like, we have to operate like time is on our side. And I think Whole Foods is such a beautiful example of that.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about, when our founders opened this store, many of the ideas that they shared at the time, we're seeing just, so far off the fray. Mm-hmm. And when you think about the movement that we've been able to help create over those 45 years, and now we're the cool kids, what we're practicing, folks actually care about. Last year when, the red dye bans, came into place, it was very fun for us to celebrate. We've banned this since the very first store. And so, I think we're really excited to be part of this movement overall. But I think we need to start talking a little bit about olive oil as well.
Let's do it.
One of the things that I had a chance to do last year, which was just an exciting trip, is we do something called In the Field, where I go with a number of our team members to go experience our higher purpose and core values, where we visit suppliers, community partners. We look at some of the work that we're doing with our foundations. And last year we had an outstanding trip to Italy. So I was able to, truly experience what great tasting olive oil is all about, and really understanding the work that goes behind it, and the craftsmanship and the detail that sits through the entire supply chain in this space. And I know for you, sourcing is a really important component to the brand. So can you maybe share a little bit about your thought process behind this? Like, what was your idea as far as creating this brand, and, what did you, really care about as it related to sourcing?
Yeah. I mean, look, I lived in New York City and I come from a family of home cooks. So I ran away from that, as one does in their 20s. And I had a spreadsheet of 600 restaurants. I was the girl that everyone went to for restaurant recommendations and all of that. Eventually got to a place where I think that when you run away from the things that you come from, they pull you back in. And I learned over time that my family, my ancestors were salt farmers in South India. I think that was a huge aha moment. And then I started cooking a bit more because I would call my mom and be like, hey, what did you make? Maybe I'll mirror that. Maybe I'll make that at home. And something that I kept noticing was that I was very choiceful and intentional about the bread I was buying, the cheese I was getting, the produce from the farmer's market or from Whole Foods. but I didn't know much about the staples I was using every single day on Greek yogurt in the morning and then over a salad for lunch. And it was the oils I was using. And I was like, you know what? I want to ask friends what oils they use, what olive oil. And this is like, just to ground us in time, this is like 2016-ish. So I was like, what are you guys using? And everyone's like, I use olive oil, but I don't really know where it comes from. I don't know much about it, but I love it. And I was like, wow, I can't believe that you're telling me like you really love this. You use it every single day. It's not like an esoteric hot sauce that sits in the cupboard for 2 years, but you don't really know. You don't have an emotional connection. So I started thinking a lot about, hey, do I go to Italy? Do I go to Greece where there's phenomenal olive oil and the world knows about it? Or at the time, I actually ended up moving to California. I started visiting wineries in California and started visiting olive farms. And I was like, wait, there are really wonderful mom and pop farmers right here in the state. And they would tell me, they were like, honestly, we don't think that consumers really care about high quality olive oil. That's the conclusion we're coming to. We're thinking of pivoting back into almonds or going into pistachios. And I was like, wait, no, I think there's something. No, oh my gosh, I think there's something here. And that was really the core, like the beginning of it. And I made a spreadsheet, like a list of, I think, 40 suppliers up and down the California coast and in the valley. And I started visiting people and ended up partnering with the first farmer partner we worked with was in Atascadero, Templeton. And it was a husband and wife team. And they put so much love and care into everything. They had a mill on site, which in California for olive, like, you know, within olive oil, having a mill on site is very rare. Like they just checked off so many boxes. And the way that I even knew they checked off the boxes was I took a class at the UC Davis Olive Center because I was like, you know what? I was working in tech, y'all. Like, you know, like I was working in tech and everything I was doing was very non-tangible. And so there was also this element of like, wow, what if I get to be a part of something? Like, I'm so envious of the work you do and your team does because you are constantly making an impact in a tactile way. It's not through an app. It is through products, right? That people get to touch and feel and taste. And I thought that there was something really powerful about that. And I was like, okay, all of this is like intersecting together, like this intrigue I have about olive oil, meeting these farmers. I'm going to take this class, but who knows what's going to come of it. But I think it gave me just enough baseline knowledge not to be dangerous by any means, but to at least be able to walk in front of these farmers and say, okay, do you do this? Do you do this? How do you think about storage? How do you think about filling the caps with the tops with nitrogen? How important is that to you? Do you do filtration, unfiltered, you know, and learned. And then this partner checked all those boxes and and the biggest piece of it though, they looked at me and they were like, we believe in you.
Oh.
And I was like, I think I could sell maybe 1,000 bottles. And they were like, okay, let's do it. We'll make you 1,000 bottles.
Yeah. And how many bottles do you think you're selling a month today?
Oh gosh, hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands. Yeah. I don't imagine so, which is so amazing. What were some of the, absolutely, a round of applause deserved there. What were some of the attributes that you sort of see, you know, from within that very first supplier partner you're working with, and some of them that you have today that you think really differentiate both the quality of the olive oil, but just like the, you know, the broader impact that this product is able to have?
Yeah, I think so. You know, when you start as a startup, you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know. And I think I always tell people whenever you're making a big leap in anything in life, it's okay not to know everything. And so at the time, the partner was the perfect partner. Over time, we had a conversation of like, you know, they scaled with us from when we were doing, I'm going to say like selling 10 bottles a day to then 50 bottles a day to 100 bottles a day to 1,000. They started scaling with us and they had the conversation of, this is a lot for us. Like we did this as, you know, we wanted to believe in you and, you know, we believed in you, but like you've gone too far. And so we had that dialogue. And so we said, all right, what does that mean for us now? what do we need to look for in a new partner? And so then we ended up in 2023, we ended up partnering with an olive farm partner. They're also a multi-generational family business, so family owned. They have been in the tomato industry in California, so they know, like, they have deep roots in California agriculture. They have one of the most actually rigorous commitments to quality, both from a chemical sense and sensory standpoint. They have full-time team members on the team. They had scalability. They weren't working with any other brands. So we were the first brand that they were like, again, you guys have gone from here to here. We can help take you from here to here. And we believe in you and your commitment to California. And so it was just this like beautiful happenstance, and it happened over lunch. Wow. Honestly, like we were eating lunch and they were like, what's your dream? And I shared my dream and they were like, yeah, we want to do this with you.
Wow, that's so amazing.
And it was such like an amazing moment that coincided, but I would have never been able to, had we had this podcast conversation or this chat before, like prior to 2023, I wouldn't have been able to, I didn't know who they were. I wouldn't have been able to say this. So I think there's also, like, I always, like to speak to people who are navigating all kinds of things in our lives, right? Like, no matter what we do, like, our lives are challenging. They're filled with challenges and filled with unknowns. That's the big piece of it. So I always say, like, I do think that in this moment of time, just believe that you know what you know, and that's okay. And it's okay to have unknowns lying out there.
Yeah, be uncomfortable with the unknown.
Discomfort,
yep.
Exactly.
Yep, absolutely. And how many farmers do you work with now, would you say?
We work with probably 50 to 75. Okay.
Wow,
yeah.
That's great. So I have to ask, so you took this course at UC Davis. Like, was there anything that sort of came out of that you're like, oh, I'm so glad I did this? These are like things that have really helped me in the work that I do.
I mean, so much of it is... Look, like I was a newbie to this world, right? And so I didn't even know that you should try olive oil straight. Most people taste olive oil with bread, or they throw some like oregano in there, or they'll toss some balsamic vinegar. No, you're actually, if you think about it, olive oil is a fruit juice. It's olive juice. It's like apple juice. So the way that you want to try it is straight. And I didn't even know that. And so that was a huge, kind of awakening moment. Another was understanding that olive oil goes bad over time, understanding what its biggest enemies are, which are light, heat, and air. Right? And so what can you do, and what kind of packaging do you need to develop to make sure that that is not a concern at all? And then the frank understanding that a lot of people don't know what good needs to taste like, what bad needs to taste like. And so that's where I did a lot of thinking around, okay, let's say I were to put this in another green bottle. Are people going to like see it, or are they going to get kind of like muddled? Right? Because everyone's busy. You're walking around in the store shelf, or maybe you come to our website, and if it looks like everything you've ever seen before, what's going to make you want to say, oh my gosh, this made me feel something. I want to grab it because I want to do something with it. Yes, I want to cook with it, but it's also like showing to the world that I am a certain way. And so I really thought of the packaging as a Trojan horse moment, because let the packaging be gorgeous and amazing, but the oil better be even better inside.
Yep. And sometimes those things do not go hand in hand.
They don't go hand in hand. Exactly. It's not a moment of, oh, let's make gorgeous packaging, but throw subpar product in there and then hope for the best. Yep. It was absolutely counter to that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have absolutely beautiful packaging, and honestly, this serves as a great gift. So I've used this as a gift for folks before, and it does check the boxes on it's beautiful, but the quality of the packaging matches the quality of the product as well, which is always so important. Those two things go hand in hand. So you started your career in PR within the beauty industry.
I did.
Are there any learnings or experiences from that sort of play into the work that you've done with Brightland?
Yes, so much, because what I saw at L'Oreal was I worked in the luxury products division at Lancôme, and I saw that we were able to take something like blush, which has been around for a very long time. There's not much to say with it. And at the time, there wasn't like, oh, we're including hyaluronic acid. There weren't so many product features. It was pretty basic, like, here's blush. But beauty has such an amazing way of talking about it and positioning it and then ultimately sharing like a beautiful story around it, whether it's visual or through copy. And so I was deeply inspired by the packaging, the promise, the positioning, how they were able to do that. And I think that ended up playing a big part in my inspiration with Brightland. And even to this day, when we think about who we want to partner with, how we want to come up with holiday gift packaging, we always turn to what are beauty brands doing that are really interesting. We're going to be doing something called the Brightland Holiday House during the winter time in New York City, and it's a full experiential thing. And like we're looking at Summer Fridays, and we're looking at a lot of those beauty brands as inspiration.
Yeah.
And we're also seeing our peers in food do incredible things. Folks like Fishwife and Coconut Cult do really, really interesting things in food too.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I've heard you talk about is sort of, products fall in the category of good, better, best.
Yeah.
I'm guessing, you throw this in the best category.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I figured so. Can you talk a little bit about the work that you've done also to support the accessibility of the product? Because sometimes when we think of good, better, best, folks feel like they have to compromise on being able to access a product that meets that high quality and sits in the best category.
Yes, and this is a perfect example of actually a few years ago, I couldn't have said that because when we launched, a lot of people think that the highest, like when we look at our cost of goods, how much each element, whether it's like the bottle top, the bottle itself, the label, the packaging, what goes inside, the oil, the shipping, what's the most expensive piece? I think a lot of people think that it's the packaging because they're like, oh yeah, it's gorgeous packaging. It looks like it's a ceramic bottle. No, it's the olive oil is our most expensive piece by far, y'all, like by a lot. And so when I first started with 1,000 bottles, I took a step back and I was like, okay, I haven't raised money from investors yet. I'm really doing this on my own. I put some of my savings into this and I want to build something sustainable. So I'm going to have to price it at a place where it's super premium in order to make the math even work. And that was really, truly it. And over time, it sort of ended up snowballing into this almost like luxury sort of best in class positioning, which is fabulous. But in 2023, when we moved to our new olive suppliers, something we talked to them about was, what if we take some of the less esoteric olives that they make, like an Arbequina, Arbesana, that are found readily in California? Is there a way to make a product that's suitable for cooking, that's suitable for everyday things like a salad, and also meet that like sub $20 price point that we think could be really, really good for like families or people on the go and the Whole Foods customer too? Yeah. And we were able to make that happen, which was just such a monumental thing for us because, again, at the very beginning with those 1,000 bottles, I didn't think that was going to be possible.
Wouldn't be possible. It's great. And, I love one of our focuses has been figuring out how do we balance the aspect of quality and value and provide accessibility for our customers, which is so important. We talked a lot about sort of the sourcing that you've done. Can you share a little bit about sort of the production and some of the work that goes in that really helps support the quality standards that you're looking to have with the olive oil?
Yes, absolutely. So everything that we mill and harvest, all of the olives throughout the year are regularly looked at, I think almost every week. We do regenerative farming. So that's a really big deal. We're not like technically regenerative or, but it's regenerative farming. It is organic. When we harvest and mill, everything happens within an hour. So typically when olives are harvested, which means they're taken from the trees, they're taken to a mill. And that can be 12 hours, 24 hours. It could be days, and in some cases it's weeks. And in our case, it's less than an hour. Wow. And the reason why that's really important is because olives over time, once they're stripped from the tree, they immediately start to degrade a little bit. And so you want to get that juice out as fast as possible. So the longer you wait, the more that the composition of the oil and the taste is going to change. And so in our case, since we mill so quickly, we're able to preserve the best tasting oil and all of the great qualities.
Oh, wow.
And so that's just a small example. Everything is stored in these massive temperature controlled, nitrogen filled tanks. And so nothing sits in sort of, again, like it's kind of like you can do it, this one way where you have it open and the oil starts to degrade because there's a little bit of light coming through and air coming through, or you keep everything really tight. And that's exactly what we do. Yeah. And so then we only bottle as needed. And so we didn't bottle for the entire year, which is something else that a lot of brands do.
That's so interesting. What did you have to do from an infrastructure standpoint to support being able to mill within sort of the hour that, across all those different farms? Like what kind of investment happened or work did you have to do to help support that?
I mean, so much of it was in partnership with our farm partners over time. So our previous farm partners, we made a commitment that, we would continue working with them. And they ended up planting, I believe, like 50,000 olive trees because of Brightland. And so, there were commitments that we made, financial and otherwise. And so same thing with our partners now. It's a lot of, hey, these are the commitments that we're making. And because of our growth, they're able to help and we're able to help them invest in machinery, in equipment, in manufacturing processes that end up being even better for scalability.
Yeah. That's great. Well, with all this talk, I feel like we need to try a little bit, which is going to be tricky with our microphones here. But I want to, first, I think what I need to do is sip, which was one of the things I got to enjoy in Italy as well. So I think I will try a little sip first, and then I'm going to ask you to just
So the first thing we're supposed to do in like traditional olive oil world is you're supposed to cover it if you can, because you're supposed to try to trap as much of the flavor in. So you're supposed to cover it and you're supposed to swirl. So that way the molecules start bursting and some of the flavor rises to the top. And then you're supposed to smell it. So you should smell something aromatic. You should usually smell like freshly cut grass or something that smells like you're almost in a garden or in a field.
Yeah.
Like it's from the earth.
Yeah, absolutely. It smells beautiful.
And then the way that you sip, it's actually very funny. I don't know if I should do it because I have the throat tickle, so then I might.
So I'll do it for both of us here. Yeah. So good. So what are the things that you look for when tasting olive oil?
I look for a few things. Number one, smell is almost more important than taste. So immediately when you smell it, you want to smell fresh cut grass. You want to smell herbaceous notes. You want to smell something that doesn't smell like moldy crayons or which is actually a common, like if you go home and grab like really old olive oil that might be sitting in there, I do recommend opening it and doing a taste because you might taste like wax, old crayon, something that like smells a little bit like it was in the freezer for a while. Like that's a whole defect. So you smell for that. And then when you taste, you should be able to taste a little bit of that herby green. It shouldn't taste like it's going to be sitting on your mouth like it's so oily. And that it's just like sitting there. And then when you swallow it, there should be some kind of peppery because that's the polyphenols, which is the anti-inflammatory effects taking place. It's the same thing that you do if you take like an ibuprofen.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Which is really interesting.
That is really
it has the same effects.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah. Which oil are we enjoying?
We are trying one of our flagship finishing oils. It's called Alive, and it has the blue and gold packaging.
Oh, okay.
And that's what we're trying right now.
Very nice. And I'm going to try it here with some of our forbidden rice bread, which is an exclusive at Whole Foods Market, which I have to share. I have had these combinations together before.
It's nice.
But they pair really well together.
This bread is phenomenal.
Yeah. Our bakery team had worked on that many years to be able to bring it to our stores. So
it's delicious.
It's a great product. So what are some of your favorite foods to enjoy with olive oil?
Olive oil?
Yes.
I mean, a lot of the usual suspects, like a great pasta salad. I mean, I like taking things that I'm bored by. So a store-bought hummus that you're like, I don't want to look at this again, but then you drizzle some olive oil on top and then maybe like put some lemon zest, right? Like two things that add some magic to that end of day blah feeling. Less is more in my house. So grab some tomato, mozzarella, maybe basil leaves. If not, again, some great olive oil. And then you have yourself like a fun snack. And then for unexpected moments, like one of my favorite things to do is olive oil with ice cream.
Oh,
and a little bit of sea salt.
I am totally with you on that. I don't think Kathy Strange is in the audience, but she is our food ambassador at Whole Foods Market, and she introduced me to those combinations, and they're just amazing.
Good. That's so awesome. What do you love?
For me, it's probably salads is like I would say one of my top uses, and I've had a chance to enjoy two of your products together. That's where I got introduced to the champagne vinegar as well. So when you've got the combination of that, a little bit of lemon, like a little bit of salt and pepper, like you've got a salad dressing. Like,
do you have a go-to salad that you love to make?
For me, it's depends upon the season, quite frankly. So I like to eat produce that's in season as much as possible. And so I've been having a lot of tomato-based salads, over the course of the summer. But for me, that's probably the top use I have with olive oil. Obviously, if I'm cooking anything on the Italian front as well, I feel like I'm using a bunch on that side as well. But it actually ties well to my next question. I wanted to ask a little bit about the expansion of products that you all have had. So I know the vinegars and honey have been some of the newest ones. The champagne vinegar for me just is like outstanding, and just compared with the olive oil, just makes such a great base for salad dressings. What is sort of the process that drives your product development process, and what was the sort of the passion behind sort of extending into these two categories?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I wish I could say, oh, we look at so much data and, but honestly, it was things that our customer, well, on one hand, there is data because we have this really big direct-to-consumer audience. So our largest sort of customer base still shops from us online, even though hopefully one day Whole Foods soon overtakes that.
Yeah.
But because of that, we're able to ask them, hey, what do you want? What are you seeing? What do you want more of, less of? And I remember a couple of years ago, folks were like, yeah, can you give me like a vinegar recommendation? I don't really know. And it just so happened that I met these vinegar farmers by happenstance at a food show. And they were like, look, we also are not really working with any other brands. We, are making this vinegar and we love to spend time on the beach. And so we don't really know if we want to go into this. Like, we're trying to figure things out. And it was the best vinegar I'd ever tried, right? They double ferment everything. They have Navel and Valencia oranges with the champagne vinegar that you're talking about. They have Navel and Valencia oranges that they grow on the farm that then are double fermented with California Chardonnay grapes. And it's just such a beautiful, if you go there, you're like, oh my God, there's flowers everywhere. You think that there's going to be a rainbow that shows up magically. It's crazy. And talk about, regenerative farming. I think they're pioneers in that. But I think it has been such come from a place of heart. Okay, this feels right. Intuition. Let's go with it. And then we learn and pivot, and not everything. Sometimes we've come out with limited run things on direct to consumer. We've gone way left field and did a collaboration with kitchen towels. People didn't really want that from us.
They were not looking for kitchen towels.
But then when we came out with a really cool pizza oil where we infused jalapeno and basil and garlic and rosemary all together, and we were like, this is the oil for your pizza. It's the perfect complement. It's your pizza's best friend. People loved that.
Yeah. I've not had that one. I need to try it. It sounds delicious. You're making me hungry.
Yeah, we're going to have to hook you up.
I'll definitely have to try that. What have been some of the biggest challenges that you've had, with scaling, and now that you're in multiple different categories? Obviously, vinegars and olive are sort of adjacent to each other, but honey's in a whole other category. So what are some of the things that you have to think about, and some of the challenges that you've had to work through?
At the end of the day, so many of the challenges, like I could talk all day long about, oh, this label was wrong and we misspelled something, or, the warehouse, there was something that happened and you could talk about all that. But so many of the challenges ultimately have been mental and have been around, are you thinking in scarcity mindset versus abundance? How are you channeling your energy? I saw somebody had written a quote in one of your conference rooms with Taylor Swift talking about treating your energy like it's a luxury item and it's expensive and not everyone has access to it. Honestly, it's a lot of that. Yeah. I would wonder if you feel the same way, or if what do you think about?
Yeah, I think the other piece of this is with challenges, you don't. There's so many pieces of information that you mentioned earlier that you don't know, and you're not sure exactly if I approach it this way or this way, what the outcome is. Again, you can pull as much data in as possible, but, I think about our, category managers, they get, tens and tens and tens of thousands of, items coming in, every year for consideration. And, there's the balance of how do we make sure that we continue to lean on trend, but at the same time, you want to make sure that we are running a business that best serves our customers' needs. Totally. As you mentioned earlier, if, the towels that you had, weren't working out, we don't want to have, areas like that, because exactly, yeah, you don't want to, but you don't want situations where you're taking up valuable shelf space on things that aren't actually going to surprise and delight our customers. And so I think there's this, the right balance is oftentimes figuring out how do you take the art and the science piece, especially I think in our business, and help bridge those together. We're never going to actually find our way to the next trend and staying on trend if we only look at data. If we're only looking at these are the items that have been purchased before, you're going to sort of be stagnant in that space. And I think for us, we really try to lean in to make sure that we can continue to surprise and delight our customers and sort of lead the way within, the food and the culinary space. And so, I think for us, that's one of the pieces. And then, I think the other piece that's so important, with scaling a business is the culture. And one of the things that I'm so proud of that, with Whole Foods, like we've had tremendous growth over these 45 years, but making sure that we can maintain our culture. We celebrate Team Member Appreciation Week, and, it's one of my favorite years of the week. I am already excited for next year's, and the things that we'll continue to do to, make sure that we can build the culture at Whole Foods Market that allows us to serve our purpose and live our values in the best way possible.
Absolutely. Team is everything.
Absolutely. For us, we've always said the secret sauce and secret ingredient and magic of Whole Foods Market is our team members. So that piece is so important for us. One of the things that, and I think it differentiates us in the marketplace for sure. What are some of the top ways that you're looking at differentiation in your products, both the stuff that you obviously carry today, but as you think about expanding the brand, what are some of the ways that you look at differentiation?
It's so interesting. I mean, so much of it, yes, there's so much of the what we do, but then you zoom out and ultimately it's why we're doing it. And so I think a lot about the words joy, beauty, delight. I think about romanticizing your life. And I think that Brightland has a unique voice in that. And I think more than ever, we are all so sick of these screens. We want to spend time offline. We want to be, if it's with ourselves, we need these breaks. And if our products in whatever shape, form, size, they show up and they kind of make you be like, oh, that's nice. Like, I feel good. Yep. Then we've done our jobs. So we think a lot about that and how do we make sure that we're a part of that conversation, we're creating that conversation. And next year, we're really going to be leaning in more into in real life experiences, whether it's doing a lot of demos with a partner like Whole Foods, all the way to doing things on our own, delighting our customers in different ways.
Yes, well, demos are a key to success at
I'm so excited.
Whole Foods Market, for sure. I constantly get asked the question, is it worth it? And I'm like, absolutely yes. This is a way to engage team members, customers, get folks excited about the product. And as we know, when customers taste something and love it, they're going to buy it. So it's a natural
I'm so glad you said
connection.
that because we have like hundreds coming up in the next couple months.
Yes.
So if you were like, don't do demos, then I would be having to make some urgent calls.
No. Demos are a way to a customer's heart, for sure. One of the things I love what you're just saying, it's not just about what you've created, it's how you've created it and the steps that go into that process. And I think it really resonates a lot with how we look at our business as well. We love bringing great products to market for our customers. We love doing the homework for them, but how those products are grown and produced is so important to, our purpose and our values. I'm a little bit curious as far as how you see impacts related to both the climate and sustainability that tie to, olive oil and some of the other products that you've brought to market. Where are you seeing those impacts?
I mean, we see a lot of it with the farmers themselves, right? Like originally when I was chatting with the farmers back in 2017, they were saying, I don't know if I want to be in olive oil anymore. I'm thinking of getting into almonds and pistachios. And some folks actually did. We saw a shift in California. Like, a decade and a half ago, California was sort of rising in we're so with farmers excited about olive oil. And then there came a point where it was like, we're making all this really beautiful premium olive oil. It doesn't seem like there's a market for it. Maybe we pivot out of it. And they looked at their peers in almonds and pistachios. However, what the water intake and what it requires to be in almonds, be in pistachios, I believe it's like 8 to 10 times the amount of water. It's millions of dollars of water. And first of all, California is in a drought. And secondly, a lot of these farmers looked back and they're like, actually, olive oil is extremely drought resistant. It requires less water than ever. It is a really good crop that does well with natural biodiversity, and it's really healthy for the soil. So maybe that's something that we stick with. And if we're seeing success with brands like Brightland, who are able to tell the story of premium California, then we can stay in it. And so I think that has been a really, really interesting, just word on the street and kind of what I've been hearing from farmers.
How do you sort of look at the future of sustainable food production? And what are some of the things that you feel like Brightland will help support sort of that mission and those goals?
I think sustainable food production starts with wanting to eat at home a little more. I think it starts with wanting to find magic in the mundane. And frankly, I think a lot about that hummus that I talked about that you wanted to throw away. It's saying, okay, let me add something a little magical and zest it up. That makes a big impact because then you're like, oh, okay, then maybe I'll do that again on Thursday rather than being like, and I'm going to toss it. So much food goes to waste. That's a huge issue for us. But if we're able to hold on to things, if we're able to say, okay, you know what, I can just sort of shift it a little bit, take this one ingredient that I know is like extra good and layer it on top, that changes the game in a really, really big way. Yeah. And so that seems like a overly simple. I know that's not the most like lofty thing to say, but I think that can make a really big impact. Yeah. I've seen it make a big impact in me and my friends in how we think about our refrigerators, honestly, and food waste.
Yeah, no, it's so interesting. And I think there's a lot of folks that probably aren't thinking at it from that lens. And, one of the areas that, I always find interesting is, folks, when they're looking at our food systems, they assume like the dairy industry has got the most negative impact within the climate and sustainable impact. And, it's really food waste that's ending up in our landfills. And so one of the things that we've been really proud on is the work that we're doing to limit that as much as possible. And so our first goal is making sure that, what we're producing can actually be consumed, can be consumed by our customers, by humans, and as we do our donations for the food.
Is that challenging? I've always wondered.
Yeah. It is. And I know we've got several folks who work in operations in the room here. It is really, really tough. And
how do you know how much people want to buy?
Yeah, well, you got to get good forecasts, and it takes a lot of work. There's a lot of work that goes on the tech, on the process side, and ultimately, you're never going to be right. It's there's always things that come up, weather events and things change, and customer choices change on that side. And what I'm really proud of the team is we've figured out like how as much as possible we want to be able to sell the products that we are buying or producing in our stores. And where that's not possible, we find other programs. One of the things I'm really proud of is and they both were team member ideas, like come from ideas from our team members, is we have something called Enjoy Today, where we reduce product that will expire expire, usually within the next day or so. We mark that down 50%. And so somebody who's going to eat that item anyway, we provide them with great value.
That's amazing.
And we help make sure that that item's not going to waste. And we have a partnership with Too Good To Go where customers can get sort of a surprise bag, if you will, of items for a great price. And that's been another way that we've been able to, and it's items that, have a shorter shelf life than what you would typically find or purchase. And so someone who, again, wants to, consume those items, same or next day, it's a great way to help support that and a win-win on the business side. And then we've set up an entire network. Every store has community partners where we make food donations to as well. And this has been a big passion of our team members in being able to help ensure that we're supporting the community at the same time. And then we've brought in composting programs where if the product can't be utilized for human consumption, and we're starting to work also in areas to support animal feed. And so the goal, and we've got several stores out there, and I have to put Williamsburg, which is one of our stores in New York, in Brooklyn, who's really led the way in this space. The goal is to have no food go into the dumpster to go into the landfill, and the pride that our team members have.
Oh my God, everyone needs to know about this.
Yes.
This is incredible.
Yeah, so it's pretty amazing on that front. So
that's really amazing.
Yeah, thanks for letting me share that as well. One last set of questions we've got. It's our lightning round. It's been such an enjoyable question here. So we've got a couple questions on this front. In just a few words, what is Brightland's role in changing how Americans think about their olive oil and how to use it in their everyday lives?
Bringing joy, integrity, and impeccable delight to Americans everywhere.
Outstanding. Great set of words there. What advice would you give to entrepreneurs looking to enter the premium food space?
Don't do it. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm so kidding. I would say, don't spend too much time on your phone. Don't look at what other people are doing too much.
Yeah.
Know yourself, know your superpower, and walk in with confidence in that. Yeah. It's really easy to look at other people more than ever.
Yeah. Great advice there.
And I would say that to everybody.
Yeah, regardless of what
we all live, we live beautiful and terrible lives. Life is a beautiful mess, and it's that way for everybody, no matter who you are and where you are. And so there's no point in looking at somebody else and wondering if they're living a better life. They're facing everything that we're facing
Exactly.
too.
Don't measure anything by using social media for sure.
Exactly. That too.
What is the biggest pinch me moment that you've had so far?
This is a big one. This is one, I would say. Honestly, it's been customer related. Getting either having a customer, this is wild, a customer come up to me being like, oh my God, I think you're the founder of Brightland. Not because I'm some celeb, but because they're like, oh, I love it. And it makes me so happy. So to hear the words that I said to you about joy and delight and beauty being reflected back to me by our customers, when I'm not screaming from the rooftops every day being like, you need to find joy in us. But if they do, and they are able to share that in an email or a note, or a review, anything, those I still pinch myself every single time. I think it's crazy.
I had a chance to talk to a customer in Charleston yesterday in one of our stores, and those are total pinch me moments when you know that you've truly surprised and delighted them and have their support as a customer. It's
crazy,
so great,
right? Yeah.
Is there anyone specific who's tried your olive oil and sung its praises that you were just like, wow, this is just incredible?
Let's see.
A chef or...
Yeah, we've had a number of people, but I would say, hearing that, hey, it's in XYZ chef's house and that's what they're using is really crazy, because then that it's just organic. Yeah. It's not something that we sent them or anything like that. That's a really cool feeling. Yeah, I can't think of a particular person, but it's been a lot of people that I've been really blown away by.
That's great. Well, it shows the quality olive oil that you've got there. What's a little known fact about you that might surprise people?
I've never jumped off a diving board, even though I proclaim to be fearless in a lot of ways.
All right. Will that be on the list at some point, maybe?
Never.
No. Okay, never. All right. What emerging trends are you keeping your eye on right now?
That's a good question. In food or outside of food?
It could be either.
Outside of food, I'm keeping an eye on experiential, like I said, how people are taking brands and bringing them to life in interesting ways. I'm really interested in brands that are able to do like some kind of like takeover of an existing like cafe or spot. That's super intriguing to me. And then within food, let's see, I was just chatting with Brooke about pistachios, having a moment, which I think is really fun to see.
I just had some pistachio butter the other day. It was just outstanding.
Yeah, I think like pistachio is on my mind too. There's a pistachio perfume that I tried recently that I thought was really interesting too.
It's great. I also tried a salad crunch, and so that was made of pistachios, which actually, again, Kathy, of course, is the person who's helped share that with me. But
I like that.
Yeah.
What are you seeing for trends?
So many, but I would say, customers just caring more about what's in their product. How it was produced, what's in it, from even talking with our team members, I think we're in this food consciousness space finally, and I mentioned earlier, 45 years ago, our founders, they saw this and they saw the importance of it. And I think the degree by which the average consumer is starting to care about these things is so important. And so I think this is one of those times where it's, our opportunity to continue to help raise the standards and continue to educate and the importance around healthy eating. So for me, it's an exciting one because it, fits right in the square space of our business. So really, really exciting to see that. And my last question for you, what is next for Brightland?
Oh my goodness. World domination. Honestly, the hundreds of demos that we're going to do with Whole Foods, I think deepening our partnership with Whole Foods, we've just been we feel so lucky to have your support. You guys have been like just stellar, understanding, forward-thinking partners. We don't have many retail partners. We're in department stores like Nordstrom and Neiman Marcus, and we do really well there. We are on Amazon, which is, I know, part of the Whole Foods family. We have our direct-to-consumer website, and then we're in really tiny mom-and-pop shops. But from like a national retailer standpoint, it's really Whole Foods. And so I've been able to see firsthand that you and your team walk the walk. In addition to and I think that people keep telling me like that's rare.
Yeah.
And so I don't take that for granted at all. And so I think, there's going to be a lot more on that side of things. And then for us, it's continuing to look at how do we bring joy, beauty, and delight to people in a time when I think people need it more than ever.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's so great to hear that as a supplier, you've noticed what we all believe in. Part of the reason I joined Whole Foods Market is the fact that the higher purpose and core values are not just words on a wall. It's something that we want to live and breathe every single day. And so having that connection with our suppliers is great. So appreciate you and your partnership.
Like across the board. Like I go up to store managers at any Whole Foods and I'm like, hi, I have this little brand. Like I want to talk to you. And just the enthusiasm and the like passion that I see from every single store manager that I've ever spoken with, I'm really blown away.
Yeah, our store team leaders are just amazing. I always say it's one of the most important roles, if not the most important role that we have in the entire company. And they really help to bring to life all the amazing experiences that we bring to our stores and working with our team members.
It's really special.
Yes, it is. Well, thank you so much for your partnership. Appreciate everyone here in our audience as part of our live taping today. And thanks for our listeners for joining today for Beyond the Board. Until next time, let's keep supporting brands like Brightland that are making life's little luxuries more attainable to enjoy.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks. So great to have you.